Scott Adams, the creator of the famous Dilbert comic strip, died on Tuesday at the age of 68.
Now, Adams revealed last year he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer and said he did not expect to live much longer. His ex-wife made the announcement along with a lengthy statement on his X account that was titled "A Final Message from Scott Adams." Now, the statement says, in part, "I had an amazing life. I gave it everything I had. If you got any benefits from my work, I'm asking you to pay it forward as best you can. That is the legacy I want."
The Dilbert comic became hugely popular in the 1990s for its satire of American office life, reaching hundreds of newspapers and eventually being adapted into a TV series that ran for 2 seasons. Later in his career, Adam got more involved in politics, becoming a vocal advocate for Donald Trump in his 2016 campaign. In 2023, hundreds of papers dropped Dilbert from their publications after Adams suggested on his YouTube show that white Americans should, quote, "get the hell away from black Americans."
When he made that comment, Adams was citing a Rasmussen poll that found only 53% of black Americans agreed with the statement that it's okay to be white. The ADL said that white supremacists had promoted that phrase, but it's unclear whether Adams was aware of that context. He maintained his comments were meant to be hyperbolic and were taken out of context. Now, reactions to his death have flooded social media on Tuesday, including from President Trump. Trump wrote on Truth Social, "Sadly, the great influencer Scott Adams has passed away. He was a fantastic guy who liked and respected me when it wasn't fashionable to do so. He bravely fought a long battle against a terrible disease. My condolences go out to his family and all of his many friends and listeners. He will be truly missed. God bless you, Scott."
There was also some pushback over the way certain media outlets framed their announcements of Adams' death. Most of the articles were uncontroversial, but a few did draw outrage from conservatives. For example, People magazine wrote the headline, quote, "Scott Adams, disgraced Dilbert creator, dies at 68." And the Boston Globe's headline reads, quote, "Scott Adams, Dilbert creator who shifted into racist far-right commentary, dies."
Conservative commentator Shem Horn reacted to the headlines, writing, "Today's a great day to block every evil media outlet on this website to help starve them of their ad revenue. These people can't go bankrupt fast enough." And former Fox News host Megyn Kelly says People magazine is the new Gawker, classless, nasty, and hates anyone beloved by the right. So Scott Adams, in addition to creating Dilbert, which I loved Dilbert as a kid. It was a great comic, hilarious. Catbert, evil director of HR, was a favorite recurring character in the strip. He branched out into internet social media commentary. He would do a daily Coffee with Scott Adams, where he'd do a daily live broadcast on, I think, on X and YouTube, where he just discussed the news of the day. He was he had some quality that like many, I enjoyed listening to him, even when I didn't really disagree with what he was saying. He had some way about him that was like the cadence of his voice was reassuring or was pleasant to listen to. And so he was very successful for that reason. He famously predicted that Donald Trump would win in 2016, got that right, got some attention for himself. He was not always fully on board with everything Trump did, but increasingly over time became more pro-Trump. Then he did get into trouble for those comments we made that we referenced there, and then his comic strip got dropped. We talked about it on Rising at the time. I think what he said was bad. But in a career of 50 years, you're going to say things that don't hold up every now and then. So for the media to lead with that as the most relevant factor about his life, it is fine to acknowledge somewhere in your remembrance of this person that some people who'd been fans of Dilbert didn't like this shift he made. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But to lead with the thing we want to tell you about him, disgraced, is the first word in the headline. I see how that evinces a significant bias.
Yeah, me personally, whether I'm working in an analytical capacity or actual journalism capacity, I try to avoid when people pass away, bringing the negative comments about them to the top. So this could be anyone from Dick Cheney, some of his policies I disagreed with. This could be anyone like Charlie Kirk. This could even go as far as to when Kobe Bryant passed away. I said, can we just pause for a second? Because immediately some of those articles said a lot of the historical things that he was accused of.
Oh, I agree. I thought that was awful. I
spoke a lot about that.
This is a figure that people look up to, who's inspirational. for young people everywhere, and that's the first. You want to say that.
And like you said, it's fine for people to put the whole of someone's life in an article, breaking it down, but to act like that's the most significant thing about the person in the moment or days after or the day of people passing, the people who take the time out that have big followings to go on social media and immediately try to eviscerate people's character, whether you like them or not, that's not my lane. People can do whatever they want. That's not my lane. I think from his goodbye statement that he probably planned out because he knew that he was going to pass probably pretty soon based on a lot of the public communications that he was having. I like that he said, I had an amazing life. I gave it everything I had. At 68, that's a really young age to die. Yeah. If you think about it. I mean, my parents are older than that.
Yeah, and so the way we age now. Yeah.
Right. So it just seems like a very sad situation. I remember he pleaded with President Trump to help him out because he said that Kaiser Permanente wasn't allowing him to try to be on one of these, I think, treatments. Yes. That was like a test.
It sounds like he was too far gone.
And I get, but because
I support right to try, but.
Right. And I specifically have a close experience to that because one of my friends passed away of cancer last year and she wanted to, it was a sad situation to watch it happen, but she wanted to fight. And so she was on a clinical trial. It extended her life by 6 months. And then we saw her start to deteriorate again. But I remember the hope that it gave her just to try that clinical trial. And I remember the moment when they kicked her off. And she was like, well, I want to keep trying. But I know how it goes with Kaiser Permanente maybe being in a certain box if he's too far gone. But I just understand that when you are holding on to any thread of hope that maybe your friend or your partner or your husband could be the anomaly that maybe beats this thing, then that's a whole other thing. So I'm empathetic to some of his experiences and, the way that he lived his life and talked about politics, I think, and perhaps said things that are disparaging. I just would say rest in peace to him in this moment. And I'm sure there's many other moments to discuss and dissect his legacy and whether it's
remember the mainstream media put the headline, the head of ISIS killed, and it's austere religious scholar dies. Remember that one?
No, I don't remember that one.
I always bring that. They called him an austere religious scholar, and
he was literally the head of ISIS.
Disgraced. Yes, oh my God, that's underselling it.
But you know what's so interesting?
They make it sound like saying racially inflammatory or just cancelable things is a greater crime than killing people. Well, no one was killed by Dilbert.
I don't understand why they want to. I'm so surprised about People magazine. I'm not an avid reader of People, but as I was at my parents' house over last weekend, I was flipping through it. I saw Oprah was talking about her new weight loss and all this other stuff, and that's what I thought the topics were. So the fact that they've been jumping in, I guess, in the last decade into political conversations has also been a little bit jarring to me because I thought people just go there to kind of escapism, just get the tea on who's been working out, who's single, who's the sexiest person alive, things like that. But the fact that and I'm not getting political, but they do tweet out stuff sometimes from their page that seems like they're taking a stance.
They should stick to sports.
Well, I hate to tell people that. I just didn't know that's what I should expect from People magazine.
Yeah.
But
anyway, very sad news. He will be fondly remembered by a lot of people, particularly people on the right later in his life, the audience he catered to. He really did do something. He was a tremendously successful, idiosyncratic individual, a very unique person to have created this fantastic comic strip, and then to have, again, later in life, really not exactly pioneered, but been one of the leaders in this new form of communication and community, just turning on, just pointing, there was nothing technically fancy about what he did. He would just turn on the camera on his phone or his computer and just get a mug of coffee and then just start talking to people, live streaming, this is, Twitch type thing, YouTube. And just do that, and people would tune in, and it would get huge numbers of views because he was good at it. He was good at just talking about what was on his mind and giving kind of some of his political commentary, some of his kind of self-help advice.
Now I'm going to go back and watch so I can get a good feel for his voice.
It helped a lot of people.
Calming. I'm trying to remember if his voice calmed me, but not. Maybe he was calming. You said it's just a good voice for.
If he would appear in my Twitter feed, clips of his show, I would always watch it, and I don't say that about most people.
It's not to take it here, but hearing Stephen Miller's voice is also quite annoying to me. So it's a total opposite version of the spectrum. Very squeaky, very okay, we get the point. Come on.
He's just pleasant to listen to. Rest in peace. Next up, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul wants to investigate Anthony Fauci, but he claims the Trump administration is not taking his phone calls on that. We'll be right back.